Jonah and the Big Fish, a cartoon-style script. Chapter 1. The Call of Jonah scene. A bustling city with narrow streets, merchants selling goods, and people walking around. Narrator voiceover. Long ago, in the land of Israel, there lived a man named Jonah. One day, God spoke to him. God voiceover. Jonah, go to Nineveh and warn the people to stop their wicked ways. Jonah worried, muttering to himself, Nineveh? That's the enemy's city. No way! Jonah decides to run away. He rushes through the streets and finds a ship heading in the opposite direction toward Tarshish. Chapter 2. The Great Escapade. A large wooden ship sways on the sea, preparing to leave. Jonah panting to the captain, one ticket to Tarshish, please. Captain raising an eyebrow, you seem in a hurry, stranger. Jonah nervous smile, just need a vacation. Jonah sneaks on board and hides in the lower deck, relieved. The ship sails away, but storm clouds gather. Chapter 3. The Mighty Storm Scene. Dark storm clouds, raging waves crashing against the ship, and terrified sailors. Sailor 1 panicking, this storm will sink us. Sailor 2 praying, the gods must be angry. Someone on this ship has brought us bad luck. The captain finds Jonah asleep. Captain shaking Jonah, how can you sleep through this? Pray to your God. Jonah guilt-ridden, this is my fault. I disobeyed God. Sailor 1, what should we do? Jonah resigned, throw me into the sea. The storm will stop. Chapter 4. Overboard. Scene. The sailors hesitate, then finally throw Jonah into the raging sea. Immediately, the storm calms. Sailor 2 stunned, the storm. It's gone! Sailor 1 in awe. Jonah's God is powerful. Jonah sinks into the deep, bubbles rising around him. Suddenly, a massive shadow appears. Chapter 5. Swallowed by the Big Fish scene. A huge fish with wide eyes and an enormous mouth swallows Jonah whole. Inside, Jonah is surrounded by darkness. Jonah touching the slimy walls. Oh no! I'm inside a fish. Narrator voiceover. For 3 days and 3 nights, Jonah stayed inside the great fish. Jonah prays, repenting, Jonah, Lord, I was wrong. Save me, and I will obey you. Chapter 6. Spit out on the scene. The giant fish swims to the shore and spits Jonah out onto the sand. Jonah is covered in seaweed and fish slime. Jonah coughing, wiping slime off his face. Ugh, never eating seafood again. God voiceover. Jonah, go to Nineveh. Jonah nodding, determined. This time, I'll listen. Chapter 7. The warning to Nineveh. The great city of Nineveh, tall walls, busy streets, and people in fine clothes. Jonah walks through, shouting, Jonah, in 40 days, Nineveh will be destroyed unless you repent. The people whisper, fear spreading. Even the king hears about it. Chapter 8. Nineveh repents scene. The king, dressed in royal robes, steps on. King of Nineveh, Jonah speaks the truth. We must turn away from our evil ways. The entire city, from rich to poor, fasts and prays. They dress in sackcloth to show their sorrow. Chapter 9. Jonah's complaints. Jonah sits outside the city, watching. Jonah grumbling, God, why did you forgive them? They deserve punishment. God causes a leafy plant to grow, giving Jonah shade. Jonah is happy until the next day, when a worm eats the plant, and it withers. Jonah angry, ugh, first Nineveh is saved, now my shade is gone. God voiceover. You care about a plant, but not about the thousands of people in Nineveh. Jonah silent, realizing his mistake. Oh, Chapter 10. The lesson learned scene. Jonah looks at Nineveh in the distance, deep in thought. Narrator voiceover. Jonah learned that God's mercy is for everyone, even those we may see as enemies. The sun sits behind Nineveh, marking a new beginning for the city and for Jonah's heart. The end.